Hi, good morning, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Joey. I am a full-time work from home, stay-at-home mama, an author, and the person that's gonna help you become the main character in your own life. Now, today's video is gonna look a little different, and the main reason for that is I've been struggling. I've been struggling, and I feel like it's just best to be honest about that, mainly because of what I talk about here on this channel. I think it's important to keep front of mind that it's never going to feel all pinned up and perfect all the time. I'm literally halfway through doing my hair. It is like 6 something in the morning. I've been awake since 3:30 because my dog woke me up to go outside, and I've not been able to fall back to sleep since because my mind won't stop racing. And there's nothing in particular that has me stressed out. It's just the gravity of I just keep percolating on this thought of what do I want my life to look like, which is a very exciting thing to think about, but it can also be super overwhelming. And as this year is coming to a close, I've just really been thinking a lot about kind of where I was this time last year. And if you don't know anything about what this year looked like for me, in February of this year, at the very end of February, literally the last day, I got laid off from a job that I was very excited to have. It was a job that kind of helped get me out of a really unfortunate working situation, which took me a lot of time and prayer and thought to leave. It wasn't necessarily a job I wanted to leave. It was a job that I had to leave for my mental health. And so the job that I got really felt divine. It really felt like answered prayers. It checked all the boxes, right? And so I left my long-term job in September of 2022, and in almost March of 2023 I was laid off. And obviously with that has come a lot of I don't even know how to explain it, not second guessing thoughts, because what good is that gonna do necessarily? I have messed this up somehow. We're just gonna start over, which is a metaphor for my life at the moment. It comes with a lot of thoughts of did I make the right choice? And especially the gravity of the fact that I left that job. The only reason I left it was because I was not okay. I just was not okay. I wasn't okay with where things were going at that job, and I struggled with some moral things about the place, and I never ever make decisions out of a selfish place, and that time I did because it was the only way I was going to survive was if I left. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I wouldn't have ceased to live, but I would have ceased to be Joey. I would have lost myself entirely, and I really prayed for a rescue, and I got it. The job that I got fell into my lap, and it was somebody had designed the perfect role for me in the perfect scenario situation. And I was delighted and thrilled to have that job. And even getting that kind of offer, I still really struggled with whether or not I was going to leave the job that I had, because I loved my job. I loved my job. I loved what I was doing. I loved where I was. I loved the people that I worked with. I loved everything about that job. But I just knew in my soul that it was time for me to go. There are a number of reasons why. I won't get into them. So I did. I left. I gave a month's notice. I left. I threw everything that I have into my new job. And so for it to suddenly be gone, if that just scared you, that the door just creaked open, my cat just walked in. I think where I was this time last year and where I am now is a little bit jarring, because I thought I had it all figured out. And on both sides of the scales, it's super comforting to know that you're not stuck anywhere forever, no matter what. Everything is temporary, nothing is permanent. Your life can change on a dime in the most beautiful and wonderful ways, but it's also really, and that can be really exciting too. And I generally tend to view things that way, change all of that feels very exciting. It can also be a little discouraging and scary. Like, it can feel scary because if I think back to where I was this time last year, I felt so confident and so at peace and so full of gratitude and joy and all of that. I thought I knew exactly what this year was gonna look like, and just a few weeks into the year, like, everything went sideways in the most horrible and amazing way possible. Like, what is really a really hard thing to have gone through also turned out to be a really amazing thing for me personally, but it has also left a lot of like really big question marks about like stability, and like it makes me a little bit gun shy. Does that make sense? Like, it makes me a little gun shy to like throw myself into a direction for fear of it being the wrong route to take, which I think is a very common way to feel, but I also think that is my general hang up. Like, that is the one thing that stops me every single time, is this like, I'll think I have an idea in mind of like, I know in my heart and my soul that this is the direction I want to run in, and then I basically talk myself out of chasing it because what if it doesn't work out? Or what if it's the wrong choice? And having been in a situation that I could choose to look at what happened to me earlier this year in two ways. One, it could be that I made a choice and it didn't work, and I put my family at risk by making that choice because I had to take care of my mental health to leave the job that I knew was stable for a job that I also believed to be stable. So it wasn't like it's just such a hard place to be in. I can look at it that way, or I can try to zoom out and look at it as the bigger picture of like, I made a choice to take care of my mental health, and God or the universe or whomever was like, she's never gonna decide to leave a very stable job to chase the life that she wants. So we're gonna give her like stepping stones to get there, and then we're gonna knock her knees out from underneath her and put her on a path that like the only choice forward, the only thing she can rely on in this moment is the life that she wants to live. And I was like put in a situation where like fear had to be like on another planet. Fear had to just take a hike because I didn't have a choice but to like run solidly in this one direction because it's the only direction I had left. And so if you have no idea what I'm talking about, when I lost my job, I put a video out on TikTok about losing my job and sharing about a book that I published 9 years ago. I've always stayed in like the creative space, but I have not been writing in years. I've had like different moments, like we just talked about, where I'll like run confidently in the direction, then I'll like stall myself out, and then run confidently in the direction and stall myself out. And that has happened a lot to me in the last several years. And I'm experiencing that same cycle right now where I'm like, I just ran confidently in this direction and now I'm stalling myself out. And so literally the existence of this video is like, it's literally the day this video is going to go live, because I have put off recording this video for so long. One, because we've been sick, if you can't tell from my voice, but also I have been so in my head about everything. And this right now, excuse my language, is going to be a big F you to all of that, and just keep moving forward because this is what I want. And I have such a weird relationship with that. Like, I have such a weird relationship with allowing myself to do what I want to do. And what happened last year into this year really didn't help that much because I made a choice based on what I wanted to do and it blew up in my face. But also, if you look at it in a different way, opened the path forward to moving in the direction I want to go in. I can't tell, this is basically my therapy session. Thank you very much for listening to me. So let's talk. Okay, I'm gonna do my makeup while we do this. I think I might have already mentioned this before. If not, it's like very early in the morning and I'm getting ready to go take my mom to a doctor's appointment. So it's now or never. I think the most important thing, people pick like a word for the year, right? And I think I might have done it last year. I don't know for sure if I did or not, because I don't think I was organized enough to have it front of mind. And this year, or this coming year, my word is going to be intention. And that's what I want to talk about right now, is I want to be more intentional. I want everything in my life to be more intentional. And I will say that is one thing that came out of, I don't even know what, like that event earlier this year, is it basically put my life back at ground zero. And so I had to very quickly think about what I wanted my life moving forward to look like, or at least temporarily moving forward to look like. And I remember having this very clear moment of clarity where I was like, oh my God, this is everything I've ever wanted. All of a sudden I have this audience online and I have this opportunity to inspire and encourage, which is all I've ever wanted to do. And not from a place of like hoity-toityness, because trust me, if you know me at all, that is not me. It's more from like in the arena with you, like as we're trying to figure it out, as someone who's lived my whole life believing I didn't deserve to have what I want. We could get into that. Probably need to do that in therapy. And like all of a sudden it was here, and I just kind of let my thoughts creep in that I still just, even though it was all here, I didn't deserve it. And because I started to have those thoughts, I started to find proof of that fact. And I think we're always going to find proof of whatever it is that we're thinking. I think that's just the way our brains work. And so I would like to intentionally decide to look for the proof of the life that I'm intentionally moving forward with, you know? And so I think today, if there's one thing that I can leave you with, is as this year is closing, and this is what I'm going to be doing. So this is not me telling you like, these are the things that I did to get my life back on track. That is not what this video is. This video is, hey, I'm down here in the trenches with you, and this is what I'm gonna do. And I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but if you'd like to come along on the journey with me, I'd love to have some company as we figure this out. I am going to take the last couple of weeks of this year to get really clear about what worked this year, what didn't work this year, what I want to do more of next year, what I want to do less of next year. But beyond all of that, I think the underlying foundation of all of this is that I want to become so intimately connected with who I actually am, not some social media version of myself, not work version of Joey, not mom version of Joey, wife version of Joey. No, I just want to know who the hell I am. Like at my core, down to my roots, I want to know without a shadow of a doubt where I lie. Like, what are my thoughts and opinions on things? If you grew up like I did, I basically didn't allow myself to have any real thoughts or opinions. I just kind of followed whatever other people were thinking or saying. And so like, I just want to get very comfortable with the person that I actually am and show up as exactly that person across the board. And that's the one thing I can hope for you this year. If that's something that you want, I just would love to encourage you to take some time over the next few weeks. I don't know if you work a full-time job. I don't know if you have time off. I don't know if you're a parent and time off feels like a pipe dream, like it does for me, even though my husband and I are both off for the next 2 weeks. Find time. You find time to scroll on your social medias. You find time to watch TV. It takes intentional decision making, right? Like that's part of what all of this is about. It takes intention, and it's not always the easy or comfortable choice. And I'm telling this to myself right now because I can easily get sucked back into the black hole of numbing myself into believing that I have my life all figured out, when in reality, I know what I want. Like that's not the problem. Like I know exactly what I want. What I don't know is who I want to be while I'm getting there. And I want to figure out what that looks like for me so I can have my roadmap for next year, right? So I don't have any like fancy tools for you today or anything like that. The only thing I can recommend is get a journal. That's all I can recommend. Get a journal or like Evernote or Scrintl or some type of digital note-taking app and just start doing the work of trying to uncover, get to know yourself, have conversations with yourself like you would with a friend, and figure out what it is that matters to you. And just sort of like establish the kind of relationship with yourself that do you know what I'm talking about when I say that? Like you meet someone new And like within the first 15 minutes of having a conversation with them, you're like, oh my God, I love this person. I love the vibe they're giving off. I love the energy. I love who I am when I'm around them. And you just get this idea of like, oh my gosh, I want to be friends with this person. I want more of them in my life. I want to establish that kind of relationship with myself. And I want you to establish that kind of relationship with yourself, because here's the thing is I would do literally anything to help any person that I consider a friend establish the life that they want. I would do anything. I would set myself on fire if it meant they got where they wanted to go. I want that same relationship with myself. And I want you to have that relationship with yourself, because I also, like, while I'm out here like trying to figure this all out, I want you to also figure it out, because we're all kind of in this like wishy-washy place together. And I don't know, like, if you've just recently become a parent. I mean, my kids too, so it's not that recent. But I feel like in the grand scheme of life, I've only been doing this for 2 years, and I still feel like I'm waiting to figure it out. And I feel like most parents would be like, you're gonna feel like that for the rest of your life, because I had this realization that, like, this is the first time I'm doing this, right? But every step, every version of parenthood is going to be the first time I'm doing it. So I'm never gonna feel like I have it figured out. And that was a really comforting thought to me the other day, and it made me like establish that kind of perspective on everything. We're all brand new human beings. Like, this is the first time we're doing this. It's okay not to know. It's okay to like feel like you don't know what you're doing. It's okay, it's our first time doing this. And so whichever path that you decide to like run down, you're gonna feel like you don't really know what you're doing because it's your first time doing it. And that's okay. That's me telling myself that. And it doesn't have to look like what everyone else's version looks like. And I'm really leaning into that right now, because like I told you guys in my last video, my life looks very different than like anybody else on the internet that's like preaching certain things about like creativity and entrepreneurship and all of that. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm fully confident and comfortable in the direction that I'm running. I just, again, want to know who I am while I'm running in that direction. So yeah, I think the whole moral of this message is just to be super intentional with every decision that I'm making in 2024. I don't want to fall into like this autopilot version of my life, which I feel like I was living until I lost my job in February. I think I got a glimpse of getting out of autopilot when I made the decision to leave my old job and go with the new job that ended up laying me off. And so I got like a taste of what that felt like. And obviously when I got laid off, I didn't really have a choice but to like just rip the Band-Aid off and run. And I used to, this is interesting, I don't know that I've ever mentioned this here before, but I used to have a podcast called Joyful by Design, and it was the most authentic version of myself that I've ever presented to the internet ever before. You can't find it now, I let it die, but I just keep hearing Joyful by Design on repeat in my head. And so I think for 2024, I would like for myself and for you to be living a life that is joyful by design. Where you're the main character, because you should be the main character of your own life. But like, just give yourself permission to be happy. Like, as this year closes out, I'm just going to be doing a lot of like reflecting, journaling, thinking, planning, dreaming, all of those things. So yes, this video looks very different than the videos I've been publishing as of lately, but honestly, this feels the most real. This feels like Joey showing up as Joey, and I don't know if that's okay with you, but I hope it is, because here we are. Anyway, I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for this very weird video this morning, and if you are in a similar boat to mine, keep going. You'll get there. Thank you again. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.